Hi, I'm Mrs. Duncan. I'm your English 102 instructor, and I wanted to go over the syllabus with you. The syllabus is under the blue tab, Syllabus and Book Information. If you see an attached file, usually you have to do a right-click on it to open it. It's important that you open all attached files. That's information that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. If you're having difficulty, try using a different browser if you're not able to open an attachment, because you need that information. Here it says to open it up at the bottom, and so we can see our Word document. We use Microsoft Word for all of our documents that we receive and send, and if you do not have Microsoft Word, you can get it for free. There's a tab for that shows you how in the blue menus, and Google Documents come with your school email, which is a Gmail account, and they can be converted and changed over to Word documents. All right, this is a standard ecollege syllabus, and it explains that all the instruction, all the communication, all of the discussion boards, tests are online. You don't come to class on site, on campus for any of it, but you have access 24/7. We divide everything up into units that are a week long. It is not a do-at-your-own pace course. That's not what college is in a regular standard college. It's just very much like as if you came on campus, but instead of coming at Monday and Wednesday at 10 o'clock, you can choose to do Monday night at 2 a.m. and check back in on Thursday morning at 5 a.m. But the work has to be done during that week, something early in the week and something else by the end. We run Monday morning to Sunday night. I have contact information there. Email is the best way to do that. I prefer that, and then so I can get that more quickly and get that back to you. You won't miss me, because if I'm not always in my office. Sometimes I'm on the other campus, sometimes I'm in the classroom. All right, information about emails, office hours. So here's what we do for English 102. This is specific for us. 4 full-length essays. You're going to see the specifics of that in our assignments, but those are at least 750 words. Closer to 1,000 is what we're looking for, and that's not counting ahead or any kind of citations when we use those things. With draft revision, that is the new requirement to have college transfer credits so that the universities will accept this as a transfer credit. So we have a lot of grades based on drafts and revisions, and we'll look at the distribution of that shortly. But it's analytical writing, it's formal writing, it's based on literature, things like poems, short stories, dramas, and we have to include a research project, a research paper using certain kinds of outside sources, and that come from our library. You'll get more instruction about that, but that's so that it will transfer. To get into the course, you had to have a C or better in English 101, and there's no co-requisite or lab that's required. We use the online Cengage subscription service. Hopefully you've learned about that and you've done that before, but if not, you can find out about that in another part of our course. You pay one price and have access to all the textbooks online, and you can have a print option for just a few extra dollars per textbook to have them mail you one. If you do not choose to use that, you can get an older version but still has all of our content and our stories. Compact 9th edition of Reading, Reacting, and Writing by the Kersner and Mandel editors. It's a Cengage product. I've got the ISBN number there. Maybe you can find it on Amazon or Chegg or some other distributor. We also use Criterion, and that is a revising software with an assignment grade. The serial number has to be purchased through our on-campus bookstores, and so if you are taking this out of state or out of the city, you need to contact me to see how we can arrange for you to get your serial number. But it is a graded assignment. Lastly, on this page, it talks about the Blackboard requirement and how that is how we do things, everything, and you're a registered student, you have access to Blackboard, and everything is through that, not anywhere else. The only exception to that is, of course, if you have a question about something not covered in Blackboard and you email me, that's fine. If it is in Blackboard, I'm going to be just basically pointing you back to where that is in Blackboard that you perhaps have overlooked that resource, because everything is required to be there. It's been checked and double checked that it's in there. Doesn't mean there's not something that comes up from time to time, but most of the time I end up redirecting students. The other exception is when there is a technical issue and you have done everything you were supposed to do. You were supposed to email me a screenshot and the assignment that you had so that we can go from there. Everything has to be documented. Alright, so you have to have some basic computer literacy. You have to have a working computer. A PC really is what you need. iPads, Google Chromebooks do not work well with Blackboard. We have no control over that. This is how that is. And you have to have reliable internet 24/7. You need a quiet place. You need a place that's not a public place because your proctoring of your exam will need to be in a private setting. So those are just some basic requirements. You need to know how to do basic things. There'll be more things you'll be learning how to do, but you have to know how to do attachments and email and Microsoft Word and know how to use the computer, the keyboard, and so forth. So for 102, like I said, we are a writing class. It's the composition part 2 in the state of Alabama for freshman composition, and the topics are not generated so much by the student as they are by the content of the stories that we've studied, we've read, and we've discussed online. Instead of in a classroom, we do it online in our discussion board. We'll be learning about doing that, but we're focused on written communication skills and critical thinking skills. We use MLA as our style guide. This is an overview. You can see all these weekly units in the Blackboard course under the course instruction, the weekly assignments, the weekly units, and I've highlighted the 4 essays that we have. 2 of them are proctored by ProctorU. I'll take just a real quick minute to jump over to the I'll find it here. Well, I'll do it later, but there's information in here about it too. But that is a testing service that is outside of us that we use. You have to register with them. Your fees are already paid for unless you register late, and there's certain kind of rules about what you have to have. The other ones we do an outline, a draft, peer review, and then the final draft. Do some review with the fiction test. We read these stories, this play, have a test. Meanwhile, we're researching. We have an outline. We write summaries about it. We do a draft. We get peer review. We revise, turn it in. So we have 2 that are in a long, extended process, and that process is about 40% of your grade. Let's take a look at that. And the other 60% is the actual essay itself. The 2 that are proctored, and then the 2 that you write and get checks along the way. And I give you feedback. Alright, so there's more grade information and times when you can ask for an incomplete and what the rules are for that. It's basically a long document of what are the rules for our class, and so you need to be able to be familiar with that. Go back and look at it when you have a question about that, and they talk about how you just can't send me your assignments. There are certain exceptions, but like I said, when there's a technical issue, but you know, it has to be submitted in Blackboard event to be accepted for a grade and by the deadline. Okay, it is a real class, and we have deadlines. Now I try to get as quick back on feedback as I can on these writing process assignments, outlines, and drafts within a couple of dates of the due date, not within the time you turn it in. If you're early bird, you did it on Tuesday, Wednesday, great, but it's not due till Sunday, so that means I will either give feedback on Monday or Tuesday if it's part of the process. If it's a major assignment, though, a major essay, that takes much longer, and so even up to 2 weeks. I try to get it in that first week, but it could be longer than that. There's rules about the discussion board. One of the most important ones is that you have to post and reply. Okay, you have to post early, and then you have to reply by the end of the week, and you need to be in and out of the discussion board more than at one time. If you only sit at one time, you don't get full credit. Okay, you have to be engaged in and out as people are adding to the discussion. You have to participate. So there's rules about how you type it. You know, it is an English class, so you got to use standard English or you get points taken off. Okay, you have to write good content, well-developed content, and make a substantial contribution there. Everybody has to. You can't just sit there and look at what's being written. You have to participate, and so that's the participation part there. You are given attendance based on submitting grades. Just logging in does not count you as being present. That's really important. But if you do submit a grade, submit an assignment, take a quiz, then you have engaged in the class and you will be counted as present. If that becomes a problem, then you need to check into withdrawal, but please check with me first because I have a much better idea of kind of what's left in the course and what you would need to do to pass. So please check with me before you submit a withdrawal request. I can help you with that decision to make one that your best interest, hopefully, is the whole idea. Late work is not accepted unless under extraordinary circumstances. Technical issues are not considered one of those. Really, I mean, go to another computer, right? Use the things that you've been given. Save your Google documents, things like that. But if you have some kind of issue, you've got to document it and send it to me in a timely way. Anything you know about ahead of time, you need to contact me ahead of time and work it out. So the mandatory testing, here it is about ProctorU, and there are some links. If you go to our website, the college website, well, there's links in Blackboard as well, but this is a list of the things you have to have, a web camera and things like I'm doing here to do this video. You have to have that. You can't take it in a public location. The fees are paid, but this is required. You can check for if there's online tutoring. There's some links in our Blackboard. There's a host of links to support services. So when you're having an issue, just go down the menu, go to Lawson State, or go to the student portal in Lawson State. There's all kinds of things there to help you with all kinds of related things. Online etiquette rules. If this is a new environment for you, or you've only done it like in Facebook doesn't have these rules. So this is a grade, and so you need to make sure you're doing things correctly. Okay, plagiarism is really a key thing here, and it's probably a lot more involved than what you might have thought. That's why we have a plagiarism unit so early, because when you borrow any information, and students in this class in English 102 often go, you really just need to watch the videos and read the content that's published. If you do that and participate in the discussions, you have all that you need to write about for these papers. Okay, but students sometimes, I don't know why, skip that or do that and still go to other sources. And then when they use those ideas in their paper, it shows up. We have software that checks for that, and then they get in trouble because even if they change a few of the words, they got the ideas somewhere else, and that's plagiarism. Okay, we don't use outside sources. That means anything outside of the Blackboard content until it's assigned, and that's not assigned until the research paper, and then it's specific places that we go, specific sources that we use. Okay, that has a really big penalty. There's all the policy about that. So if you have a technical issue, you have to contact the help desk or get somebody that can help you with computer issues. But go to come on campus, use a different computer till yours gets fixed. But just because yours is broken doesn't mean that you're off for the week for the course. Okay, you have to resolve your issue. But there's a lot of things you can check, like checking your browsers and trying different ones like Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or Firefox, rebooting. There's a lot of troubleshooting you can do first. If there is an incident, you have to do a screenshot. There's instructions about that, and send the assignment, like an essay or a draft or whatever, with it to me to document that issue. Okay, all right, well, there's a syllabus quiz, and there's going to be things that maybe go in more detail than what I did because I'm just overviewing and highlighting, and most of the time I go into more detail, but this is the syllabus, and so that's all we have for today, and I look forward to kind of getting to know you on the discussion board, and thanks so much.